These modern-day explorers are going on a voyage of rediscovery. Below them, Doubtful Sound and its main channel, Malaspina Reach, named after the captain of the Spanish expedition of 1793.
That's the name of the commander of your expedition that came home 200 years ago.
This is one thing we have in common.
Yes.
Spain's representative in this part of the world, Antonio Núñez, is on a pilgrimage to the site where the Spanish explorers first landed on New Zealand soil. A fact that would almost go unnoticed if not for this man, Southland historian John Hall-Jones. He's made it almost a mission to retrieve our Spanish place names from the changes made by later pioneers.
We had Captain Stokes of the Akron survey. He did a magnificent survey of the whole of New Zealand's coastline, but he wasn't quite so good on preserving earlier names, and when he came into Doubtful Sound, he just retained 3 of the Spanish names, Borza Island and Barbero Point, where they anchored, and the Knee Islets, and he just wiped the rest off his map.
Captain James Cook discovered and named Doubtful Sound because he doubted there was enough wind to get his ship out once within the Great Walls. But 23 years later, 2 Spanish corvettes weighed anchor at Barbero Point. That's Spanish for the day they arrived. Then they sent an armed boat into the Sound. When Captain Malaspina and his crew came to Doubtful Sound 200 years ago, they were on a great worldwide scientific expedition. Inspired by Captain Cook's description of the glacier-carved sounds, they wanted to measure the gravity in these southern parts to see what shape the world was. On board the rowboat was cartographer Felipe Borza and 2 assistants. They made landfall on what's now called Borza Island at Marcassione Point. This moment in our shared history with Spain is an emotional one for the Southland historian who erected the plaque 9 years ago.
Saddens me a little. New Zealanders don't seem to know that we have a little corner of New Zealand down here in Fiordland that were explored and mapped by the Spaniards, and that here we've got a wee cluster of Spanish place names, and these are the only Spanish place names on the whole map of New Zealand.
Exiled from Spain, the British published Borza's map of Doubtful Sound, a place that still inspires awe in his countrymen today.
I was thinking all the time that probably when Malaspina, my countryman, came here 200 years ago, I mean, he probably saw exactly the same thing. The nature was so impressive and beautiful and untouched.
Rose Daly, 3 National News.